Good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining us in our webinar tonight, how to deal with seasonal allergies. My name is Catherine. I've been with Pascoe for about a year and a half now, and I work in the marketing department. I'm just going to give you a brief little overview about Pascoe before we start. We are the Canadian subsidiary of Pascoe in Germany. It is a family-run manufacturer of natural healthcare products. They're headquartered in Gießen, Germany, and we in Canada have been operational for just over 15 years now, with our headquarters in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Pascoe Canada and Pascoe Germany are dedicated to providing natural healthcare products to our consumers, our retail partners, and of course the medical community, which includes naturopathic doctors, nutritionists, exercise physiologists, and general practitioners, to name a few. We are currently employing over 200 employees worldwide, and Pascoe has offices in Canada, Austria, Slovakia, and we distribute to over 30 countries worldwide. Today we'll be talking about allergies, all things allergies, presented by Dr. Alexandra Sison, who is a naturopathic doctor. She'll take a closer look at a few of the following topics: what is an allergy, symptoms of allergies, what the causes of allergies, and remedies and herbs for treatment. We encourage you to join the discussion and ask questions in our Q&A period at the end, where we'll open up the question box and you can type in your questions, and Alexandra will answer those. Also, just to let you know, when the webinar is complete, you will receive a coupon code for a discount on any Pascoe product purchased on our website. We hope you enjoy the webinar and we encourage your feedback. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you so much, Catherine. My name's Alexandra Sison, and I'm a naturopathic doctor in Toronto. Today, we're going to be talking about all things allergies with a focus on seasonal allergies, something that many of us might already be experiencing this year. The purpose of this presentation isn't to diagnose or to treat anyone, but to educate you about the allergies you may have and the various ways that we can support them. Never hesitate to consult a healthcare practitioner to find out what's the best way to support yourself. So as many of us know, social distancing is good for stopping a lot of things, but it cannot stop the seasons from changing, and it can't stop our immune system from reacting to these seasonal changes and causing allergies. So let's get started. Okay. Before we look at how to support our bodies and symptoms in response to allergies, we need to first talk about what an allergy even is and why some of us will experience allergies in the first place. So what is an allergy? An allergy occurs when the body becomes oversensitive to certain triggers or stimuli. This can be from food, the environment, chemicals, plants, skin products, and much more. Allergies originate in our immune systems. An allergy occurs when our immune system has an inappropriate response to a non-pathogenic foreign substance. This response results in symptoms that we experience when we have an allergy. These symptoms can include itchy skin or eyes, rash, watery eyes, runny nose, stuffed up feeling, headache, and even in severe cases, an anaphylactic reaction where we can't breathe properly. Our immune system, this is the ultimate protector in our bodies. In our bodies, it's the role of the immune system to filter through all of the foreign substances that we're exposed to constantly. The immune system looks at each of these substances and decides if it's basically a friend or a foe. If it's a foe, something such as a virus, a bacteria, parasite, or fungus, in essence, something that could hurt us, the immune system will prime the body and mount a defense against this particle to try and destroy it so that it doesn't cause us harm. This is a very important process as it prevents this invader from entering into our cells and making us sick. Sometimes our immune system can get confused or very, very hypersensitive to stimuli. This means that they'll start to see certain particles that are non-harmful as harmful. For example, an autoimmune disease is a result of our immune system recognizing parts of our own body as harmful and attacking them. And this can cause many symptoms and conditions such as like rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, just to name a couple. So that happens when our immune system becomes sensitive to our internal environment, but the immune system can also become hypersensitive to external stimuli. And this type of immune hypersensitivity can make us more susceptible to allergies of various kinds. In this specific situation, an immune system will have a response to an innocuous substance. And what an innocuous substance is it's something that normally does no harm to the body or doesn't cause any immune response. This can include different types of food or environmental substances. So what happens is instead of seeing these substances as harmful, this hypersensitive immune system sees them as pathogenic and starts attacking them when they might not have hurt us in the first place. These different stimuli can reach us through all kinds of actions, whether it's inhalation, injection, or direct contact. And then the symptoms that result depend on the extent that our immune system reacts to the particle, the way that it enters the body, and the actual substance in general that we're reacting to. For example, when you come into direct contact with something that you're allergic to, this is a skin allergy. Most of the symptoms will occur where the allergy touched the skin and will be characterized by a rash, itchiness, swelling, redness, or hives. If something is ingested that the body mounts an immune response to, this can result in a more systemic response, including potentially anaphylaxis, which is where we aren't able to breathe. The immune system has various ways that it can attack these foreign substances, and the method that it chooses to attack them will also determine the symptoms that you experience from it and the severity of that response. So what causes an allergy? How an allergy develops is still not fully understood, but we do know that there are many factors in our daily lives that contribute to how our immune system functions. According to the Canadian Allergy, Asthma and Immunology Foundation, an estimated 20 to 30% of Canadians suffer from allergies. There are believed to be many factors that contribute to the formation of allergies, with the universal understanding that a normally harmless substance is activating the immune system when it shouldn't be. This could mean that the immune system either isn't trained properly or isn't working optimally. We're going to look at 4 of the different things that could be contributing to an allergy formation, and these include the hygiene hypothesis, gut function, the role of histamine in the body, and the role of stress in our lives. So we'll start with the immune system and hygiene hypothesis. So one theory on the current dysfunction of the immune system and the epidemic of allergies is this idea of the hygiene hypothesis. This idea is that a decreased exposure to infections and bacteria during infancy and early childhood prevents the immune system from developing the appropriate defenses that it needs to understand the difference between good and bad stimuli later in life. Basically, our immune systems aren't being trained properly because they're not getting exposed to enough things when we're growing up. The most important phase of development for the immune system is early in childhood. At this time, the immune system will develop each time it is exposed to a bad, I put that in quotes, or a foreign substance. So when it's exposed, the immune cells that detect this foreign substance activate a specific immune response. And this develops certain immune cells called antibodies that help to fight off this foreign substance. When the invader or foreign substance is removed from the body, these antibodies remain in the immune system. This way, if the body is ever exposed to this same foreign substance again, the antibodies are already prepped and ready to fight it off. Basically, the immune system is already primed to respond to this specific type of invasion. If young children don't have this exposure early on in life, they do not develop this adaptive immune response with antibodies to identify and fight off pathogens later in life. This same process of recognizing different pathogens early in life is thought to help to shift the immune response from one that could shift it away from an immune system that can get confused and develop allergies. And instead, it primes it to be one that actually helps us to fight off viruses and parasites and bacteria and things that will really hurt us and make us sick. In modern day, with the introduction of food hygiene, antibiotics, soap, and hand sanitizer, there is just less exposure to bacteria and viruses and different kinds of harmful things growing up. And the result seems to be that there's much less infectious diseases, which is a really, really positive thing. But at the same time, we're also seeing this rise in allergies of all different types. And so while this link is still up for debate, it's always something to consider when looking at immune health. The second thing that could be contributing to the formation of allergies is the overall makeup of our individual bodies. In particular, there have been recent links between the health and integrity of the digestive system and the development of allergies. So the intestinal mucosa, and this is the lining of our intestines in the body, is an important part of our immune system. What it does is it forms a barrier between the outside world and things that we're ingesting from that outside world and the inside of the body. And it only allows certain things to pass between its walls to then enter into our bloodstream and get absorbed by the body. If this intestinal lining becomes inflamed or damaged, it loses its ability to properly filter out what should be passing through the barrier into the body and what shouldn't be. What this does is it leads to substances passing through the gut wall that shouldn't be. And these extra substances can lead to a worsening of old allergies or the formation of new allergies because they aren't something that our immune system recognizes and starts to respond to. Furthermore, our digestive system and our gut is the house of many, many good bacteria, and this is known as the microbiome. These good bacteria help to keep the digestive system functioning optimally. They also help to modulate the immune system, decreasing unnecessary inflammation and decreasing unnecessary immune activation in general. When the microbiome is healthy and composed of all these good bacteria, it can help the immune system respond appropriately to different foreign substances, and it can also help the digestive system absorb and extract the proper nutrients from foods while excreting what isn't needed. However, when the microbiome gets destroyed or damaged, and this can be through a whole slew of different things, including antibiotics as well as stress, the bacteria, the good bacteria, they can't properly perform this important regulatory role between the immune system and the digestive system. This can result in inflammation and the formation of allergies. In addition, it can also lead to bad bacteria populating our gut instead of the good bacteria, which changes the way our digestive and immune system functions. The third thing that we want to talk about that has a huge influence on our immune response and allergies is stress. Our psychological state has a huge impact on the health of our guts as well as the health of our immune system. So when we say stress, what that is stress is basically when we are in a heightened state. So this is called a sympathetic state or fight or flight. This state was historically used to help us escape if we were being threatened. For example, if a bear was to jump out of the woods while we were camping, our bodies would immediately go into this sympathetic state to help us to survive our encounter with the bear. In order to protect us in these emergent states, the body will shut down all unnecessary functions. So this includes our immune system and our digestive system. And then it will send the energy to the places that we need to escape. For example, our muscles and our legs and our arms and our brain function. In these moments, when we're faced with a life or death situation, the body doesn't care if it can digest its last meal or if it can fight off the next virus that it meets. All it cares about is how it can best escape from this bear. And the body also doesn't understand the sympathetic state. It can't determine if there's actually a bear threatening it or if it's stress at work or a presentation, that same process gets activated. So in modern society, we enter this sympathetic state even when we're not in a life or death situation. Anytime that we're stressed with school or work, family, or life, our body enters this fight or flight state that was once reserved for only cases when we were in certain death. This constant state of stress and sympathetic stimulation can have profound effects on the optimal functioning of our immune and digestive systems, because it's much harder for them to be turned on when we're in this state of stress. In this sense, when stress and other psychological factors become chronic, they can trigger or worsen allergy symptoms because they're not allowing our immune system to function the way that it needs. The final thing that can contribute to allergies is histamine. And histamine is a molecule that's released by our immune cells that promotes this allergic immune response. It's a normal part of our immune response, and it can be very, very helpful when our immune system is working properly or responding properly. Basically, what happens when our immune system senses that there's a foreign substance that needs destroying, it will decide what type of immune response it needs, and different molecules will alert the cells. And depending on the molecule that's released, that will determine the type of reaction. So, for example, histamine is released by the immune system when the body believes it's responding to an allergen. In this situation, histamine is sent from one cell to another, creating a larger and larger immune response and increasing the intensity of the symptoms associated with allergies. So the reason why antihistamine medications are used in allergies is it's to try and stop this pathway to decrease the severity of the symptoms. Histamine is a normal thing. It's produced naturally in the body, but it can also enter the body from different ways. So, for example, there are many foods that contain histamine, such as alcohol, nightshade vegetables, which include eggplant, tomatoes, potatoes, tuna, and other fermented foods. And fermented foods will include dairy products, different grains, soys, meats, and kombucha. And if you already have a susceptibility to allergies, a diet high in these foods that contain histamine can actually worsen symptoms of allergies and perpetuate this entire cycle. The rest of the presentation is going to focus more on hay fever and seasonal allergies, but I just told or allergic reactions that are out there. So allergic asthma is one of them, and this occurs when an allergen gets into the body through the respiratory tract, and it activates an immune response in the lower airways. So the immune cells in this area, they trigger an immune response that causes our breathing tubes, called the bronchioles, to actually constrict. And at the same time, it causes the cells in the area to increase the fluid and mucus. All this is done to try and get that allergen or that substance out of the lungs. But what happens as a result is these episodes of coughing and breathlessness and a feeling of tightness in the chest because the airways are actually closing. So it's one of the more serious allergic reactions. Asthma doesn't always have to be allergic, but that's just one type. Other allergic reactions will manifest in skin conditions, including things like eczema or atopic dermatitis. And this follows a similar pattern with allergic asthma, where either there's something in the body or on the skin that we are reacting to, and it will come out in symptoms like atopic dermatitis or eczema. And the resulting symptoms include dryness, redness, itching, and a rash. Anaphylactic shock, this is one of the most severe allergic reactions, and it's a systemic reaction, so it's a whole body reaction to an allergen. And it's characterized by closing of the airways as well as a severe drop in blood pressure. It can be to certain animal venoms like bees, foods, drugs, and it's life-threatening. And it's most often a response that something's ingested or injected and it's entered the bloodstream so that it can cause this systemic reaction. And then we have hay fever. So seasonal allergies or hay fever, they're often a result of environmental changes. And these different factors, such as ragweed, tree pollen, dander, dust mites, insect bites, grass, and pollen. Okay, so we're just going to do a poll here. There we go. So what I want to ask you guys is, do you suffer from seasonal allergies, such as hay fever, rhinitis, or sinusitis? And just select one of the following options. Okay, so 60% of you do suffer from seasonal allergies. So that is what we're going to talk about in the next little bit, as well as some different strategies that you can do at home to help support the symptoms that you're experiencing to try and lessen the impact and regulate your immune system as well. Okay. So some of the hay fever symptoms include, and hay fever and seasonal allergies are just interchangeable in this presentation. So some of the symptoms of hay fever include sneezing, watery and burning eyes, itchy eyes, runny nose, increased phlegm, rhinitis, which is inflammation of the nasal mucosa, nasal congestion, a rash, cough, dry mouth, scratchy or sore throat, sinusitis, which is inflammation in the sinus area, and that can include headaches, exhaustion, and low energy. So we're going to do one more poll. For all of you who do suffer from seasonal allergies, what symptom is the most debilitating for you or most intense? Okay, so the two main ones that you guys voted for, the highest one, which 67% of people, was runny nose or nasal congestion. And then the second was itchy eyes. Okay, so as those of you who suffer know, seasonal allergies can be very debilitating. There are some over-the-counter non-prescription medications, such as oral antihistamines, nasal sprays, eye drops, and decongestants that can help with the symptoms and some of the symptoms of hay fever. However, often these will have various side effects associated with them, depending on the type of medication. And as well, they don't always address why these allergies are happening in the first place. So what we're going to kind of go through is some various different home remedies and natural remedies that have been linked to decreasing symptoms associated with hay fever and then supporting the immune dysfunction that can lead to the formation of allergies in the first place. So the first thing that we are going to talk about right now is nutrition and diet. And as you can imagine, after talking about the gut's role in the formation of allergies, nutrition and diet is the way that we nourish our body and build a foundation. So every system in our body, especially our immune system, is impacted by the foods that we eat. So there's a couple of things that come with nutrition and diet. The first thing is focusing on whole foods and limiting processed foods. A diet rich in fruits and vegetables, protein, good fats, contains vital nutrients, including things like vitamin C that help to support our immune response and our immune system, as well as decreasing histamine in the body. This helps us to keep functioning as much as possible. Many of the tiny biochemical reactions in the immune system, they need these small micronutrients that only come from eating whole foods, unprocessed foods. So good fats as well are very important because they help to decrease inflammation in the body. They shift this response from an inflammatory one to an anti-inflammatory one. In addition, protein, it helps support the functioning of all of our cells and keeps them strong. It's basically the building blocks for our cells. If we don't have enough protein, our cells kind of get weak and they aren't able to perform what they need. In addition, decreasing sugar can help to allow your immune system. In some people, especially with blood sugar imbalances, eating sugar can actually depress our immune function. Finally, there is trying to figure out if there are foods that your body is sensitive to and eliminating them. When you're sensitive to a food that you're eating all the time, it causes a systemic inflammatory response in the body each time you eat it. So it's constantly activating that immune system. And this can lead to the breakdown in the walls of the intestines that we mentioned earlier. The most common triggers for people are gluten and dairy. And it's often just because of the way that they're genetically modified and because they're just harder for the human body to digest. That doesn't mean that everyone, and a lot of eliminating the trigger foods is figuring out which are the foods for you that don't make you feel well. So this can be done in two ways. It can be done by either there are various tests out there, like food sensitivity tests, or it can also be from you yourself, eliminating foods out of the diet, seeing how you feel, adding them back in, and seeing if they don't make you feel well. But creating this foundation of foods that's nourishing your body is one of the most important things that you can do for the integrity of all of your systems, not just the immune system. Next, we're going to look at some different herbs and supplements that can help support immune function. So the first group of herbs that I want to talk about, they're called adaptogens. What adaptogens do, they help to balance out the stress response in the body. So one of the most important things is figuring out what are the biggest triggers for you in your life. So if you're someone who's very high stress, then an adaptogen could be a herb that's supporting. Whereas if you're someone that has a lot of digestive concerns, then actually supporting the digestive function might be the most important for your allergy symptoms. So it really, really is independent depending on the person, because everyone has different factors of why they're feeling that way. So what the adaptogens do, and these can include things like holy basil or reishi, they are herbs that help balance that stress response in the body. So they help our body not get overwhelmed by the stress of what's going on in our daily lives. And they help take us out of that fight or flight and back into more of a relaxed state. So they can be really, really nourishing for the body, as well as allow that immune system to actually start to function. The next one we have is N-acetylcysteine. And N-acetylcysteine, or NAC, as they also call it, it is actually a precursor to the major antioxidant in the body called glutathione. So what that means is glutathione, it helps to support the immune function. It also helps to get rid of any like free radicals or harmful substances that could pose a threat to the body. So in essence, this NAC is going to help to bring the body into balance overall. This one, the great thing about this as well is NAC actually helps with symptoms at the same time as helping to shift that immune response. So it is a mucolytic, and what that means is it helps to break up mucus so that we can expel it. So it's really, really good in congestion, chronic coughs, or anything kind of lung related as well. Next, we have some different herbs and vitamins that actually support our immune response. So nettle and quercetin, and vitamin C, these are three. Nettle is a herb, it's a plant. And then quercetin and vitamin C, quercetin is a type of flavonoid, and then vitamin C is a vitamin. These three things are known as mast cell stabilizers. And mast cells are the immune cells that release histamine. So what they help to do is they actually decrease the release of histamine in the body and increase the resilience of the immune cells so that they can respond more appropriately to triggers. So they're not being constantly releasing this cycle of histamine. So these are really, really helpful, especially in seasonal allergies, in stopping that pathway. They're best to be taken over a long period of time because they're working on that foundation instead of acutely, just for the symptoms. Next, we have some overall gut support. So if you're one of the people who has more of a digestion type picture, where it's harder to digest food, and in addition to everything that's going on, there's also digestive systems, things like probiotics. These help to replenish that good bacteria and support the gut immune connection can be really helpful. L-glutamine, this is an amino acid, and it helps support the integrity of the gut lining. So that's that intestinal mucosa we were talking about earlier, as well as support the optimal functioning of the gut immune system. Finally, we have vitamin D, and vitamin D is a really, really important vitamin that also functions as a hormone, and it helps to shift this immune response from an allergic response to more of a sustainable one. So that's the one that actually acts on the pathogens instead of the allergies. It's really, really important for overall immune function, especially somewhere here where we don't have adequate amounts of vitamin D all year long. Finally, we have fish oil, and this goes with what I talked about the good fats with the diet. Fish oil helps to decrease inflammation in the body, and inflammation is associated with immune response. So it actually helps to nourish our immune system and shift it from creating inflammation to being anti-inflammatory, which is really important. Next, we have homeopathy. So homeopathy is a type of medicine that can also be very helpful in treating allergies. And it's more of a gentle acting, so it's safe for all ages and does not have any side effects. So we either have complex homeopathics, which is a mix of a small dose of various remedies, or there's a single remedy. So with the single remedies, you match your allergy symptoms to the symptom profile associated with the remedy to find the one that works best. And these as well, they work on that underlying essence, bringing the body back into balance and actually shifting it out of this allergic state into a more sustainable, appropriate response. So these are really, really helpful at getting to the root cause of what's going on, so that not only helping with allergy symptoms, but trying to prevent them from happening in the future. Other things that can help as well is acupuncture. So what acupuncture does is it acts on the flow of energy in the body. And this is from a traditional Chinese medical perspective. So by shifting the change of flow in the body, we can change the symptoms and the way that our body responds to stimuli. So in this way, it can help to balance the immune system, open the sinuses, decrease congestion, especially acutely. There are specific points that will actually work on the symptoms associated with hay fever. There are also various essential oils that can be used topically or in a diffuser for a similar purpose. Things like frankincense, tea tree, eucalyptus, and peppermint, they can help to open the airways, calm down the nervous system, and this can be especially helpful for different symptoms of allergies. One of the best ways, these is also all for topical or steam use, not ingestion. But one of the best ways to help open and clear the sinuses is to do a steam inhalation. So you fill a sink with hot water and then put in a few drops of eucalyptus essential oil, and then put a towel over your head and lean over the sink and breathe in the steam with the essential oil in it. And that can really help to open up those airways and decrease the congestion associated with it. And then finally, we have these physical treatments. And these are all things that you can do at home. And they're all about supporting that immune system, helping to get it moving, decreasing stagnation, as well as clearing out the sinuses and helping with symptoms. So hydrotherapy, that's part of what I just mentioned with a steam inhalation. So a steam bath or steam shower can help to open the airways. And you can add in these peppermint or eucalyptus essential oils into the steam and breathe them in to help clear the airways and the sinuses. Again, not to be ingested. You can also do something like a neti pot, rinsing the nasal passages with a saline solution to moisten our nostrils, and it can actually ease the itching and then wash out anything that's causing the symptoms, such as pollen. So that's really, really helpful for symptoms, especially of congestion. Overall, with hydrotherapy, there's something called contrast showers. And what this is having a shower that's hot and cold alternating and then ending on cold. So it's 3 minutes hot water, 1 minute cold water, and then you end on cold. And it actually starts to boost our immune function and increase the flow of our immune system as well as lymphatic system in the body. And this is something that's going to help constitutionally to build us up and hopefully make us more resilient to allergens in the future. Exercise has a similar function, getting outside, getting movement, walking daily. This again helps to support that overall immune function, getting things moving in the body. Dry brushing is something, so there's a picture of a dry brush on your slides, and how you use it is you brush on the skin always towards the heart, so from the feet up, from the hands up, and basically you firmly brush it in strokes one direction along the skin, and this again has that immune boosting property where it's actually moving the lymph channels, and the lymph carries our immune cells, so it's helping to mitigate that immune response so that we don't get this histamine cascade. And castor oil, it is something that can also be used topically. You rub it over top of your abdomen in a clockwise direction, again, not to be ingested, but it helps to promote the function of the digestive system and the elimination organs so that it can get things that they're building up in the body out and support our overall functioning of the body. All of these things are things that you can try at home, and I invite you to give any of them a try and see what works best for you. There isn't one treatment fits all, or one herb fits each person. It's all about you and your individual symptoms and why this is happening in the first place. So thank you guys so much for listening. I'm going to pass it to Catherine now to see if anyone has any questions.
Thank you so much, Dr. Sysum. I found that very informative for myself because I too suffer from allergies, but I also eat a lot of tomatoes. So I'm wondering if that's no longer a good idea. Anyway, we're going to open up the questions to you now. If anybody has any questions, you could just type in the question box, and I'll direct them to Dr. Sysum, and we'll get your questions answered. So just opening up the question box. Okay, so we have a question from Darlene. Have you ever heard of eating local honey to keep allergies at bay? And if so, does this work?
So I have the one thing about allergies is there's a lot of different information out there that works for some people and doesn't work for others. So one of the things with local honey is that it's very, very antimicrobial, and it can help to actually support the immune function. And I believe that that's why that use has been suggested. I haven't personally tried it, and it's not something that has been, I say this from like a research perspective, hasn't really been shown to be effective, but that doesn't mean that for someone it won't be. One of the things I would just caution is just not having too much honey. It's very soothing, it'd be helpful, but just with anything that's sweeter, it just in moderation is important.
All right, thank you so much. We have another question from Nazila. Just trying to open this up. The question is complex and simple homeopathic remedy for allergy. I guess what is a complex and simple homeopathic remedy for allergy? Sorry, correct me if I'm wrong, Nazila. So I guess the question is, what is the complex and simple homeopathic remedy for allergies?
Okay. So yeah, and just let me know if she says anything, if it's anything
Okay,
different.
sure. Yeah.
But homeopathy is a form of energetic medicine that works to bring the body back into balance. So it so what if you've never had any experience with homeopathy, it would be, especially with like single remedies, it's really good to see a homeopath or a naturopath just to get them to kind of explain it to you more. Complex homeopathics, they use a mixture of different homeopathics because which makes them really, really helpful and often good for kind of anyone because they cover, each homeopathic has its own symptoms that it treats. And so in single remedies, you are trying to match the person and every single symptom that they have with the specific remedy. So it's a lot more work, and it's more specific because then you find the remedy for them and use that to treat it. But with a complex homeopathic, they use a little bit of a bunch of different homeopathics that all will treat allergies. So it's a very, very good, like, nourishing formula to help bring the body back into balance no matter what is going on. And they work, how they work is by treating symptoms by actually shifting that immune response or that underlying dysfunction in the body. So we can help both with symptoms and then also with sustainably preventing the allergies from getting worse or coming back. Does that answer the question?
Okay, I guess she did confirm that was the question. And she's asking specifically about Pascoe products, like Pascoe homeopathic products that that are remedies. But I believe at the end of this, we will be sending an email to everyone with all of the options for allergies, just because I don't know if you want to answer that.
Yeah,
That
yeah. So in terms of Pascoe products, this webinar is more about just allergies overall. And then I think, yes, Pascoe is going to send a email just kind of documenting their specific products and how that relates. And this is more about educating you on allergies and why they're there, and then how products might be able to help.
Yeah. So I hope that answers your question, Nazila. Thank you for the questions.
Okay, thank you so much, everyone, for coming out tonight. It was a pleasure to talk with you all. We are going to be getting a follow-up email from Pascoe after this, but I hope that you were able to learn something today, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. We're going to be having a few more of these webinars over the next couple of weeks, so stay tuned and we will hopefully connect soon. Have a great evening.
Thank you again, everybody, for attending our webinar. Like we said, we'll be sending you an email with a coupon code that you can use to get 20% off any product at Pascoe online. We also encourage you to check out our upcoming webinars in the next few weeks. That information will also be included in the email that you're going to receive. So thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you joining our webinar. We hope you enjoyed it and found it very informative. We look forward to seeing you again. Thank you.